Welcome everybody to today's episode. I hope that your day is going fantastic, and if it's not, listen to this story. I think that you'll have a little bit better outlook on life. Today's guest, he received a kidney from a living donor. He had kidney failure. Amazing videographer, well loved by his community. Rochester, Minnesota is his community. And I'm going to let him share his story, but please listen to all the positive things that he has to say about the experience, but also the reality of some of the difficult things that he went through and how we can spin that around into a positive outcome. Please help me welcome Chad Corey. Hey, Chad, thanks for being here today. I appreciate you coming and visiting my home and sitting in front of the camera. You're usually on the other side of the camera.
I know. I don't know what I'm doing on this side of the camera.
I know. So I appreciate you being here. You've seen a lot of stuff we were just talking about off camera.
Yep.
But specifically, the reason I asked you to be here today is, you know, your story with some health issues that you had, and I won't explain it. I'll let you do that. Mm-hmm. But we met in some tragic times in my life. And we kind of just waved at each other here and there in a couple interviews, I think, that you were behind the camera with me in front of it, and we just have kind of stuck together a little bit. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And what's so unique to me is and this is called Triumph Over Tragedy, and the friendship that we have, as small as it is still part of that triumph, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
go a lot of years,
yeah, we go through a lot of things, and we can develop relationships and stuff. So it's amazing how full circle it comes back, and I get to hear your story.
Absolutely.
Instead of you hearing mine.
So, I mean, to start off with my story, back when I was 13 years old, I had, just the random pain in my back, and just, being 13, you didn't know what was what. I had just mowed my grandma's lawn, and I got home, and all of a sudden I had a worse pain in my back, and so we ended up going into the hospital, and at that time they found that I had a stent, or a tight spot in my kidney.
Okay.
Or in my ureter tube, which is attached from the bladder to the kidney. Okay. And so at that point, they went in and cut that out, reattached it, and put a stent in. And at that point, kidney function was like, I think 60-40. So the right side was doing a lot more than the left side. Okay. Kind of got back to, at the most it got back to was 65 or 55, 45. It was never 100% back to normal. But fast forward to about 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney disease, and they believe, it's kind of just been part of my situation. The whole thing with my tight spot in my ureter was from birth, and they don't know if that had anything to do with it, other than the fact that happened when I was 13. But when I was first originally sick with stage 3, I had gotten sick when I thought it was just pink eye, cough, cold kind of thing. Sure. And I had gotten some medication for my eyes, for drops, for antibiotics, and turns out it had sulfa in it, which I found out I was allergic to. Okay. And so everything from went there, exploded. My face got all, red and blotchy and everything, and breathing got even harder over the course of about a day. Wow. So I ended up going to this St. Mary's, and at that point they said I had double pneumonia. I had, obviously, pink eye, and then my creatinine was high, which is tied to the kidneys. So at that point, they diagnosed me with stage 3 kidney disease. From then, I was, I've been on medication basically since, and then fast forward to last end of July, like the July 28th or 29th, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, so just over a year ago. So
just
we're talking
over a year.
2018.
Yep, 2018. It was just, the weekend was spent at my mom's. We had pizza, we had tacos, and then the next day, I couldn't.
What's your favorite pizza?
I just like pepperoni. I'm
hungry.
I like taco. I like pepperoni. I like sausage. All right. Anything with cheese, I'll do it.
Nice.
But
what do you put on your tacos? Let's get to know you a little bit.
We got to do.
Slow down.
We got to do cheese. We got to do lettuce. You got to do tomato. I'm not a hot and spicy person, so I only like mild.
Just
But you got to have those little potato olays too if you're gonna get tacos.
There you go, right?
Where was I? So fast forward to then, the next day, I just all of a sudden just kind of puked. It was just all fluid. There was no it wasn't sick. It was just fluid coming up. So at the time, I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was like the flu. So, I thought I would flush it out. So I drank water, which obviously, come to find out now, was the worst thing I could have done.
Is that right?
Because by the next morning, when I had woken up, breathing was really hard. Even just the littlest things, breathing was extremely hard. And so ended up going to, down to St. Mary's, and from at whatever point I got in and got back to a room, and then, more people kind of came and checked on me, did vitals, all that stuff.
So these were like unusual signs of what was happening? Is that they didn't figure it out really fast, or? Well,
they knew. It was just a matter, for me, it was a matter of, it was a blur, because it went from me walking in there, not feeling good, like getting winded within walking 5 feet. And, even my mom had to push me in a wheelchair just because obviously Mayo Clinic is big. And so just me, getting around was not enjoyable. Yeah. And, by the time I got laid down and they did all the vitals and checking things, and my blood pressure was getting higher and higher, and, they eventually, I don't remember much of it at all, because I was ended up being sedated. And, at that point they, put a neck catheter in me. Okay. And at that point they took out about 4 liters of fluid from my lungs. Sure. That was all, water just sitting in my lungs. And no wonder I couldn't breathe. Yeah, right. Yeah. Obviously, I woke up the next day and I felt great, but going through that experience was, for me, I didn't really get to live it. Looking back on it, obviously my mom was there, my brother was there, and they saw me at my theoretically worst. Yeah. And I mean, it's an experience.
So are they still here? Like they're still around you, is what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. They've been through the whole thing. At their worst, that's good, man. So it must not have been that bad.
When you're at your worst, people, seem to find the ways to help you. Yes. But so from there, I was in the hospital for a good 9 days, and I remember having a kidney biopsy on my original kidneys, and at that point, obviously, they're not at their greatest condition. So about a week later, after I had got discharged, I got home. I thought everything was going to be coming back to normal. I still obviously had the neck catheter in, and at that point there was talk about, obviously my kidneys were failed, and so that I'd have to do dialysis, and I'd have to get like more of a permanent line in my chest. And so it was kind of, this is where I'm at in life. And fast forward to that weekend, I was just getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden I had a similar situation to when I was 13. It was the worst pain in my back. And I called 911 because I could barely move. I was in like a fetal position, couldn't move. Wow. And so, I live on the top or the third floor in my apartment building. Okay. And so I wasn't able to basically move really. So what I did is I ended up seeing obviously the firefighters outside the window. So I threw my keys down to them and obviously told them who I was and that I was the one that called. I didn't just give them to strangers, but I, they were able to come up and help me, and obviously they would just, helped assist me getting down there and everything, because I didn't feel like I needed a stretcher or anything, but I just wanted somebody to be there to help me walk through, because it was painful, and it was just, it sounds like it. But I remember being in the ambulance and was given some pain medication, and that obviously helped everything. But I went for a couple days where I was in the Mayo Clinic, and they couldn't really exactly tell where the bleed was coming from. They went in, they tried to find it, and it wasn't actively bleeding at the time. And, sure. And I was losing blood somewhere, and so I ended up having a couple blood transfusions. Wow. And obviously they were a little bit concerned at the time, because that blood transfusions is complicates things for actual kidney transplant, which sure. Obviously theoretically wasn't immediate, but down the road. But it was just a matter of a situation where and a couple days went by, and then they were able to find 3 different locations in my kidney area that was actively bleeding, so they had to embolize those. And so as you can imagine, having kidneys that are at like 15% or below, they're not in the greatest shape. So they're obviously heavily damaged. And so once that got resolved, I spent a couple more days just recovering in the hospital, and from that point, for 9 months I did dialysis, 3 days a week, and it was sitting in a chair for 4 hours at a time.
So I remember seeing some interviews with you, and how did that feel? Like, you're usually behind the camera and you're dialing people in with their mics and all those other things that go along with what you do. How did that feel for you? Like, did the reality of how bad this was hit you, or what did it feel like?
For me, I don't think the reality of the situation ever really sunk in. I mean, my mom always tells me, like, you've been so strong, you've done this, you haven't complained. Yeah. But I mean, for me, I just felt like I had to do it. I didn't have any other choice. Yeah. It was like I didn't put the port in my chest. I didn't ask for my kidneys not to, not work. Right, but it's just like, this is how my life is now. Yeah. And instead of being, upset and down and worried about everything, you just, get up, go there, take a nap while you're doing dialysis. Right. Come home, take another nap, eat something, get ready for work, and then do it all over, 3 days a week. So, but going into the whole being on the camera stuff, obviously, I enjoy being behind the camera and taking pictures and shooting video, and so
sports, is that your favorite place to be?
Absolutely,
because that's what I see you post the most of. It's
absolutely, and of course,
it's just cool.
Within the area, there's breaking news and good stories too. Obviously, with Mayo Clinic and organ donation, transplant, that whole side of things too is all very important. But for me, it was just kind of surreal, like the first time I felt really uncomfortable because you don't really, I mean, you do this all the time, you ask people millions of questions and you put them on camera like it's no big deal, and then when it's you getting on camera, it's a different feeling. So
I imagine it is,
it's just, it was not normal, and I kept trying to remind myself, like, just do it. It's obviously for a bigger, better cause. If one person can learn about organ donation, or even getting their blood tested to see what blood type they are, that's the mission. That's the goal.
Yeah, nice. And your attitude through it that I've seen has been remarkably, outstandingly positive, and I think that's why we're sitting down, really, is because of that attitude. And you didn't have a choice for those circumstances, but you chose what to do with those circumstances. And as you well know, I get in front of a lot of people every year and talk about my story and what I learned through that. One of the things that I say is that circumstances do not make us who we are, but they do reveal who we are, right? And our circumstances in most cases are out of our control, but what we do with them reveals who we are as a person. And so to have you go through that and see your character is intact through that, for me, was incredible. So thanks for that too.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite sport?
I definitely like football. I mean, watching, playing, shooting video.
Yeah. Who's your favorite local team? Can you say?
I don't know if I have a local team. I mean, they're all good. They're all favorites, I mean, they're all different in different ways. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years now, and so you've seen a lot of kids grow up, seen a lot of kids come and go, different positions, different situations. Yeah, a lot of big moments. A lot of moments that
some college,
obviously
adventures.
College, you have no idea. I mean,
it's cool.
Some kids go D1, some kids go, even like Matthew Hurt, like he went to Duke. You don't really see that too often. In this area, and so it's cool to watch, even on a smaller level. When kids make a decision, you got to make it important. It's
sure.
important. For us, for them, it's going to the next level, to be somebody and improve where they are, obviously out of high school. For me, like, I didn't really play, like I said, I was dealing with my own kidney stuff, so I didn't really play like team sports in high school, so I don't really know how it feels, but obviously seeing it from the sidelines, you get that energy, you get that feeling, and to be able to kind of move yourself to the next level, I mean, that's gonna be huge for them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool, and I appreciate I've seen you off camera and things, and I've been in the stands and different things, and the relationship that you have with the students and coaches and even referees I've seen is really fun to see, and which says a lot about who you are. If you can have those relationships with people, it's really phenomenal.
And I think it's time too. I mean, 12 years, you meet a lot of people, you get to know them.
For sure.
seeing them at random different cities here and there. It's an interesting lifestyle, I would say.
Yeah, that's really cool. What else? Like hobbies and things like that? Did this change the way you eat? The way what has this done for you in your hobby life?
I mean, for me, like growing up, I always have been into art, whether it's photography, obviously video now, but drawing, that kind of stuff. I enjoy it all. Obviously, like there's just not enough time in the day. It seems like, especially the older you get, there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
But for me, like being on dialysis, obviously I was supposed to watch, sodium, potassium, and phosphorus.
Okay.
And it's an adjustment. I mean, when you like cheese, you told me you're not really supposed to have a lot of cheese or even potatoes, like potassium. Like
sure,
it's an adjustment. And you kind of make a little here and there, like little cheats, just because you kind of want to.
Gotta feel good, right?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like at least try it. But obviously, like it's in your best interest to avoid all these foods and not drink like dark sodas. Drink more like clear liquids and waters and that kind of stuff.
So what you're saying is they should bring that. What was that, Crystal Pepsi, or what was that called way back? There was a clear Pepsi.
There was a clear. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But
it's like Sprite or water or whatever. Like that's just kind of an adjustment from growing up to having Pepsi and Coke. It's just just a mindset. And but foods, like I said, even I was supposed to watch dairy, so I didn't eat a lot of pizza. I didn't do a lot of that stuff, like just because it's the kidneys has to be able to process, and the less you force it to work, the harder. Obviously your kidneys are not in a good situation to begin with, so why make them work harder?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it was adjustment, obviously, and to I never had a fluid restriction. Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't try to overdo it, because from about 11 o'clock Monday to 6 a.m. on Wednesday, like my kidneys had nowhere to really put the fluid, so you don't try to overdo it with the fluid and drink too much water, because you feel it from going from the weekend, like from Friday at like 11 a.m. to Monday at 6 a.m. I mean, you feel bloated, you feel gross, you feel just all that fluid that has nowhere really to go.
Sure. I never really thought about it like that. That makes a lot of sense. The donor aspect of it, you brought that up a little bit ago, bringing awareness to that. I know who the donor is. I don't, I think that it's a remarkable story. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, I mean,
let's start at the beginning though. Like start where, you knew you had to locate a donor. Essentially, what's that process?
So obviously, like
what's in your head at that moment too? Like,
so back in I guess it was August when I was going through all that stuff. I was told, obviously you have to kind of go through an evaluation process, and that evaluation process came, I think, in middle of September, so it was about a month later, and that it's blood work, kind of just general tests, like physically with your body, just to see if your body can even handle another kidney. And obviously likewise with my potential donor, they would have to have the similar test to see if they can go without an organ.
Sure.
So and I think it was October 7th, I was technically approved to be on the list, which is UNOS, and that's the nationwide, and even regionally the list to be able to get a donor, and that's usually a deceased. Obviously, ideally, for somebody that like me that's younger, you want a living donor.
Okay.
And sometimes that's not, I mean, who knows, or who even thinks about becoming a donor and giving one of their organs to somebody else that they may not even know.
I know. I remember I was well into my adult life before I knew that you could actually do that. I mean, when I heard it, I was like, no way, man, you can't do that. You're lying.
To be able to do that is incredible.
It is incredible.
It's life-saving for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, fast forward to, going through the process. I mean, I think at first, you're kind of like, all right, this is where I'm at, and this is what I have to do. I just kind of have to keep chugging along, and doing dialysis, and that'll make me feel good, and that'll clean my blood, and that'll at least make me feel good for, a day or two.
So when that happens, does it clear your mind too?
The dialysis?
Yeah. Does with all that in your body, does it free your mind up in the way you think about things, or?
and this is gonna be really strange, but for me, it felt like, by the end of it, like, how you go to the dentist and they clean your teeth, and you feel like sparkly clean.
Yeah, totally.
Strangely, it felt like that's how it felt for me. Like my blood.
Are you saying I should go to the dentist?
No, not at all.
I'm kidding.
But I'm saying, I don't even know how to explain it, but my blood, just felt clean.
Yeah.
And like all the garbage that you put in your body and whatever, even the fact that my kidneys are not cleaning it themselves, that machine, that's sitting right next to me, and it's tied to my chest, that's cleaning, that's essentially acting as my kidney,
as your kidneys,
cleaning it out. And so it's like I said, it's strangely feel like,
so there was a noticeable difference. Yeah.
I mean, and then the other noticeable difference is I was, fatigued. Like,
okay.
Like I said, I usually would take naps during it because it's just, it's 4 hours. B, I would go at 6:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
And, I work nights, so it's an adjustment. And, by the time you get done with it, obviously, like, half the people in there was twice my age. So it's like, takes a lot of energy out of anyone.
Yeah.
But for me, trying to do that, go to work and try to maintain somewhat of a normal lifestyle, it gets to add up. It's just you feel drained, you feel tired. That's why I would, even after that, I would go home and take like another hour-long nap and then eat something and go to work.
Yeah.
It's just it's draining, but obviously you have to do it. Otherwise, the fluid has nowhere to go, and eventually your heart's going to just stop.
Right.
So
I notice, like, when I eat better, right? Like, I can think more clearly. I can, all of it. I'm obviously more physically active, things like that. So that's kind of what you're describing. Like, if you really just eat healthy and you get rid of the soda and stuff for a few days, like last weekend, man, I had like 6 or 7 sodas over the weekend, and I'd like never do that.
What kind of soda?
I had root beer and like orange, and so like it was toxic, and
you feel the difference
totally. And I was thinking Monday, I'm like, why in the world do I feel just like groggy and I don't want to do anything and I can't think very well? And so then a couple days I ate better, and I'm like,
like the difference between like eating a salad versus like McDonald's, it's huge. You notice, you just feel it in your stomach too. But back to the donor part of it, going through it, I just, like I said, kind of go through the motions. And then I would say, to be honest, probably around Christmas time, because from about September, October, you kind of hear, people, I'll try to get, online. Because the way it works is if you want to become a donor, is you need to go online. There's like a questionnaire, and it's actually really fairly in depth for being an online questionnaire, and it asks like some details of like, have you had this, have you had that, and stuff that you might have to look up if you don't know offhand. You might have to look up in your medical records. But once you get past that, you can fill it out for anybody. You could fill it out for me. You could fill it out for you.
Wow. Okay.
You can just put a name on there, and they'll put you in a little file, I'm sure, with other people that need kidneys and or livers or whatever it had me. But then from there, I'm told that you get a phone call, and they'll kind of walk you through, why are you doing this? Kind of more of a mental evaluation, like, see if the people are actually serious about actually donating, or just like, saying
they want to, put my name on the list just so I feel better.
Yeah. So, but it's like, would you like? Because they don't like. No one wants to waste anybody's time. Like, especially if like in my position, like I would have not. I wouldn't have hated, but you could imagine my feeling if somebody goes halfway through the process and then gets scared or backs out, or it's just, you get your hopes up and then you're let down. And then you have to keep waiting.
And then over and over again, that weighs on you too.
It's just extra time too. And the process is not quick. I went from, obviously, like I said, in September, October to, I think it was, February when I found out that I had a match. And that's like going through the questionnaire, that's getting a phone call. Then there's if you're in town locally, you get a blood draw just to make sure you're same actual blood type. And there's, I don't remember exactly what they're called, but like chromosome type things that match, to see if you're even close to being a match. And then if you make it past that, they bring you in for an actual evaluation similar to what I had. And they do, blood workup, they do kidney tests, so they give you fluid and, everything, just see how the kidneys are actually functioning and just see if your overall health is able to withstand losing an organ. And
still be healthy.
Yeah, and still maintaining a normal lifestyle.
Sure.
So like I said, it's a long process, and for me, it's just like, I know so many people that I don't even know that well that went on through the process. And even just the other day, a football coach told me that he had went through the process during the Christmas time, and for me, hearing that, like, I didn't realize I was a person that is that well known,
that deserving, maybe sometimes, right?
Or even people that would think about doing that for me. I mean, I'm just, in my head, I'm just
Chad.
I'm just Chad. I'm just the photographer. I'm just the camera guy, and I put stuff on the internet. That's all I do.
Yeah.
So it's just it's going through the process, but then it's like, some relatives and friends that say they got disqualified for this, or you haven't heard anything back. And after time goes by, I mean, I'm human. You're human. Like, you just go through that point where it's like, all right, well, now, like, why am I waiting? I hate waiting. Like, it's taking longer than it should. Obviously now looking back on it, like, my situation was 9 months. It could have been 5 years.
Sure.
Like other people I'm sure have gone through, if not more. And with Mayo Clinic, it takes time.
It's a good place to be too, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot they can accomplish.
Being from this area, and living in Rochester, like, you kind of take it, for granted,
Completely.
Like, until you need it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's amazing to me. But
can you? You don't have to say his name or anything, but the donor. What was that process for you? How, like, did you get to meet the donor ahead of time, or did they go through the process and then it was like, okay, now you guys can meet? How did that work?
I mean, it's no secret. I mean, we've done stories, but
I just want to make sure.
And his name is Chris Douglas, and he's actually a Byron guy, similar to you. And
Go Byron.
Obviously, we both known him for a long time, and for me, it was kind of a strange situation that I actually met him doing what I do.
Yeah.
And that's being out shooting sports. And so,
because he shot sports
at the time. He was doing freelance photography, and so. Just like, people that I meet, when I go to a game or go to volleyball or basketball or whatever, I'll just run into people and say, hey, and, I only have a few minutes here and there because I'll shoot video for 10 to 15 minutes and I'm on to the next one, so, but like I said, I met him in Byron. I would just say, hey, and talk to him here and there, and never was really close, I mean, we never hung out and, got dinner or anything like that. We just would chit chat here and there. And the beauty of social media, like, when I got sick, I put something on Twitter, and obviously, like, that got shared a ton, and so it's just important. But obviously, he even says too, like, he saw my post that night on Twitter, and just all of a sudden the next day he
just signed up.
I'm just gonna see if it works. Yeah, but like I said, I've known him for a long time, and going through the process, I didn't know until about, like I said, end of January, and I ran into him in Pine Island of all places, and and he was watching one of his nieces, and he just came up to me and he just asked how I was doing and how everything Christmas and all that stuff was, and then he kind of laid the bomb on me and said, hey, just so you know, like, I'm gonna get tested. And for me, I was a little bit taken back because that was the first time that I'd heard somebody had got that far of, like, getting in the actual evaluation and going to Mayo Clinic and doing the similar, process that I did, which is theoretically the last step before you can actually be a match.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to say. At the time, I was just, that means so much. I mean, how do you tell somebody, that's willing to give an organ to you, how much it means.
Yeah.
So,
do you guys hang out now?
Yeah. I mean, we went to a Minnesota United game. We've gone to dinner, and him and his wife, and obviously a much different situation now that I have, his kidney in my body. But, it's wild. You just meet people. It is wild. You don't have any idea. But that morning, I mean, it was, because after I ran into him in January. He had said he was getting testing in February, and he would let me know just kind of how it goes. And it was I think it was mid-February, and so like a week later he found out results, and immediately that morning he got a call from Mayo and said he's a match. And of course Mayo has to go through hoops to finalize everything and make sure. So, but they told him, like, you can call your recipient and let him know. And so, he called me, and he's like, the first thing he said is, how would you like a kidney? And I was like, I had no idea what to say.
Like, what are you going to charge me, Chris? Right?
Exactly.
No.
It's like, what do I have to do to, like, repay you? And it's just, And that was like the greatest thing too. And like immediately after that, like I called my mom, and I could, I don't think she was expecting. I mean, she knew that he was getting tested, but she didn't know that day or anything. So I surprised her. And first of all, I said, I kind of
did you like make a kidney cake or something weird like that? Like
no. So that's a whole other story for you though. But I at the time I was dealing
like
with
a reveal party for a baby, right?
That would be a great idea. But like I told my mom that morning or that the night before that I was dealing with some car stuff, and so originally I had called her after I talked to Chris, and I said, "Hey, car's good, whatever, all that stuff." And I said, "Oh, and by the way, Chris said he's a match."
Yeah.
And she about lost it.
Right.
She was crying, and obviously it's just over the phone doesn't do it justice.
No.
But
yeah.
It was just amazing.
That's
going
cool.
through that, and but yeah, from then, once we knew we were a match, we just kind of had to set up a time that worked, and we worked it out for the obviously April 5th or 29th, and originally it was the 15th, and we ended up switching because of conflicts and stuff, but April 29th forever is like going to be a date that I'll remember, obviously, because that's what's changed
it's like
my
a new
life.
birthday. Mm-hmm. It's like your second birthday, right?
Yeah, and so, and like I've told people too, it's like, after going into surgery, like, I was just, for me, I felt like I was calm and like, I'm just ready, because 9 months, like I said, is not a lot of time, but it's a really long time to live through it. And so, going through it, obviously I don't remember anything, but waking up, I could tell I felt better, and it wasn't like, I've said it before.
Wow,
I'm not
that's
like
amazing. It's
not like a light switch went off and all immediately like I feel
like,
great.
Right.
Within a couple hours, my mom and whoever else was in the room said, you have color back in your skin, you don't look so pale, and
wow,
and my creatinine, which is, like I said, is tied to the kidney function, and that was somewhere around 11 and 13, which is really super high because it's supposed to be like between like 0.5 and 1.5 for a normal kidney or kidney function. And so for mine being like a 10, 11, 13 area, that's not good. That's just kidneys are trying to work too hard. And so I watched my creatinine go get cut in half day by day. So it was like 11, and then it was like 6, and then it was like 3. It went like that within a matter of 3 or 4 days, and that obviously meant the kidney took, and everything was working just like it should. And it's crazy to think that the human body can do that and help itself.
Exactly. Yeah, that is crazy.
Leading to that kidney cake, though.
Yeah.
So shortly after that, like, obviously I had the surgery, I got out, and one of my coworkers ended up, wanting to get a cake, and of course they asked to get it shaped in a kidney.
Yeah.
And so they went to the Hy-Vee here in town, and one of them, I should say, and asked them to do it, and they ended up, when I came back to work, they surprised me with a kidney cake.
Yeah.
And
and I know some of your people that you work with too, so that was
so they're
good.
great.
Yeah, they are.
And but it's even more kind of strange is that I obviously got that kidney cake, but then social media too is crazy because somewhere along the line, I'm friends with somebody that likes something, and it was this girl's post who I'm now kind of friends with. She actually was the one at Hy-Vee that made the cake.
No way.
Yeah, so it's just like I said, it's a small world.
Yeah.
So, but I've kind of talked to her here and there too. So it's obviously making that she had posted something about with the cake, pictures of it, just like best of luck to this person. I wish all the best. And come to find out, a day later, like I knew who she was and made that whole connection. It's wild.
That is wild.
It's a small world.
That personal connection is so crucial in things, and I guess too, when you're depressed and things like that, it's hard to reach out to people, but it's so important to do that too. So, your attitude, you're sitting here, you're smiling and energetic and things like that. Did you ever go into a place that was like, this is miserable, this sucks? Have you always had this positive attitude?
I mean, behind closed doors when you're alone, I mean, it gets to a point where you kind of just, I wouldn't say depressed, but you just, it gets wearing on you, and you start questioning, and I think that's a lot of it. It's just you just keep wondering and just questioning in your head, and when is this going to happen? How long am I going to do this? And like, this is exhausting. I don't like doing this. I don't like waking up at 6 a.m. and I don't like having this port in my body permanently. And I think that for me was the biggest thing. Is that was just like, because normally like you're walking around, you have clothes on, you can't really tell that I'm really sick.
Sure.
And it's not like I have a broken bone or like I'm in a wheelchair that you can visually see.
Yeah.
And
which leads to you never know someone's story, so treat them with respect and dignity and all those things. But go ahead.
But so like walking around on a day-to-day basis, I mean, the majority of people probably had no idea that I had a tube, and obviously coworkers and anybody that knows my story obviously does. But day to day walking around with a camera, like no one probably would have known.
Yeah.
So it's I don't think I ever got to a bad place, but I definitely had questions, thought about things, and just more questioning when and why this happened. And it's just you go through a lot, and you don't also like when you're trying to do that, work a full-time job, and try to sleep and try to eat. And
I know that's got to be tough.
You don't really have time to think about things either, too. So,
but that wears you out that much faster.
Absolutely,
when you're having to work full-time.
Like I said, obviously, outside of doing those two things, I slept. And that was like what got me through is just being able to rest.
Enough rest.
Yeah, I think everybody understood. Obviously, if I was having a bad day or if it's just not feeling myself, or if I felt tired or fatigued, and you're going through a lot, and it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. What's like what's one thing that sticks out in your mind that really helped you like get through what you had to do every day?
I don't know. I mean, my mom, just seeing my mom too, I think, be there for me, support me, obviously, and just having somebody to kind of lean on. You can have friends, you can have people, but you're one person that's been there for your whole life is just giving you words of encouragement and helping you through. Is just, I think that kind of helps you move through the day. It makes things less awful, I guess you would expect, of an experience.
Yeah. You went to Chicago recently.
I did.
We chatted about that briefly, and then I saw some pictures. What was your favorite thing about that?
I definitely say Wrigley Field. Me and the girlfriend went there, and I've never been to Wrigley Field, and it's in a historic place, obviously, and the Cubs lost, got eliminated from the playoffs, but it is what it is. But it's a great stadium. It's a great city, and we got to see Sears Tower and just along the Lake Michigan, and obviously it's much different than Rochester. Big cities everywhere, and
for sure.
There's even buildings that we walked by that I remember from The Dark Knight, from Batman.
Right.
It's just like being able to put that with the movie is incredible too.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Obviously, it's been a while since I've really done much.
And that's exactly where I was going with it. Like pre-April certainly was very difficult, no doubt.
Even while I was going through dialysis, like I never took trips because.
You couldn't be gone for more than a day or two, right?
Well, I mean, theoretically, you can leave as long as you find another dialysis. I mean, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere as long as you set it up in advance. That, like, say if I want to go to Florida for a week, I would have to know with like a month or two in advance and then line it all up so I could actually have a place to go. But that doesn't sound like fun vacation either.
No,
it's going somewhere else to like doing dialysis just to survive.
And you're not comfortable in your own bed, and you're not comfortable or on your own, environment in general, work and restaurants and whatever else. It's,
so like I haven't really done anything since last summer.
Sure.
Prior to all of this, and so
that was refreshing then, huh?
Yeah, I mean it was nice actually getting out, and we've taken some day trips here and there, like post surgery, and because I was I basically didn't work for about 7-8 weeks after transplant, obviously. Your body needs to heal, and so from then middle of the summer we actually got to enjoy some of the summer, and went to a couple Twins games, and took trips around Southeast Minnesota just to get out and be in a normal lifestyle again, and like, so for Chicago it was just a great a couple days, get out of town, explore, see something different.
Help people understand the donor piece, like how important that obviously is to your life, and convince me, right? Like I'm not saying I'm not convinced to do it at all. That's not at all what I mean. But what I'm saying is that I think it is really important, and I've learned a lot through your story and some other things before that. But help people that maybe are on the fence a little bit and things like that? What
I mean, for me personally, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I can say. It will change a person's life. Obviously, like I said, even 7 months ago, like I was in a chair 3 days a week doing dialysis. I had a port, and getting my blood, cleaned by a machine.
Yeah.
Not only is that taxing on the body, that's also, a lot of time wasted. Not wasted, but it's a lot of time.
It feels like it's wasted
a lot of
at
time
times. Sure.
That's taken away from something else that you could be doing, and you don't feel good all the time, and it's obviously it's just your body isn't happy, and so for me, it was obviously it's changed my life. Obviously, like I feel a lot better. I have more energy. I feel great. I have color in my skin, and so I would definitely say it's so important. If you're on the fence, like even if you don't know the person, or whatever the situation, it will change their life. And I can't say to the fact because I know how in my situation, like I can't donate. I've never been really able to donate, so
Correct.
I don't know that kind of experience. But obviously, I'm assuming it's probably kind of a different thing to just one day go normal. I have 2 kidneys, and just all of a sudden, well, I'm gonna just donate one and see how I feel. It's just
some people go and mow people's lawns to help. Some people shovel in the wintertime to help, and some people donate kidneys, right?
I was like saying, it's like I can give you
really
$20 bill, and that's nothing off me. It's just money, and to take something out of your body, and give it to somebody else. There's no words. I mean, it's incredible to be able to do that, and obviously medical science has gone dramatic. Like it's the things that they can do nowadays is insane. But I mean, I would encourage anybody, even if you don't feel like you're in the place to want to donate, even just getting your blood tested and knowing what blood type you are.
Sure.
Just so down the road, even to donate blood, to do anything, that's
in a crisis situation,
so
maybe even. Yeah.
But I've heard so many other stories going through this process, of other people, obviously in the dialysis center, and other people that I feel like have not necessarily come out of the woodwork, but just people that I've recognized, and now that I'm going through this, I've seen other people going through similar situations, and
sure.
It's like you said, it's kind of, you're kind of in the shadows. People don't really think about it, but organ donation is so important, and it's very like I said, it's life-changing, but it makes you at least live a somewhat normal life again. Going from being healthy.
What a gift that is too, huh?
Going from being healthy, not knowing what's anything's wrong, not going to the hospital ever, and then being sick and basically having to live at the hospital. Like, it's not a fun lifestyle, and it takes away from, like I said, your vacations, living situations, anything. Like, it's just so much of an experience that is not normal. But that becomes your normal. But it's no way to live, effectively. Obviously, you can live on dialysis for a long time, but it's not an enjoyable life. And so now, like, for me, being able to, like I said, go running, do whatever outside, even with work.
Do you like to run?
No,
but okay, good, because I don't get that, man.
I've been trying. At least it's, because obviously, like, after surgery, like, I didn't do anything, so, like, to be able to get out and get exercise and just at least try. I'll be honest, like, I'll run like half a block, stop and walk a block, and then
that's kind of like me too, man.
I'm not a marathon runner. Like, I shoot sports all the time, but I'm not like that athletic, and I'm not in that good of shape. But
it's important to do. And,
absolutely. And I'm much older than I was, several years ago. So things change the older you get. But it's just being able to, like I said, take trips, go anywhere, do things, just to live a normal life again is so much different. I mean, and for me, I think too, like, the moment after I woke up and the transplant was done, I think a lot of things even changed. And like I said, I mean, you've said it too, like, I always had a positive mentality going through the whole process. But I think for me, as soon as the surgery was done, and then later that day, like, when I could certainly feel things feeling better, I think that lifted a whole weight off of me.
Yeah.
And that made my brain and just mental health so much better.
Yeah.
Just knowing the process was over, knowing that this is hopefully, obviously barring any, situations, is going to make me feel better. And it's also going to, help lead to a better life and just be normal again. I mean, just having that weight off is dramatic.
Yeah. So let's plug how to dig into the donor process a little bit more. No doubt the website.
So I mean, I forget exactly what it is. It's mayoclinic.org/livingdonor, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
And it's it's a super easy website. I mean, you just go on there, and like I said, there's 10, 15 questions. I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, I didn't do it, but I've seen kind of somebody just at least go through and type it in. But yeah, like I said, you got to know at least a few things about your medical history, and the biggest thing is obviously BMI. They want obviously somebody with a similar stature. Obviously, not high blood pressure, that kind of stuff, because obviously that affects kidney function. And you want somebody in a similar age range. Also your body size too. Like you don't want somebody that's 6'9", have it, because they're obviously their kidneys are going to be bigger. It's just it's a matching in its in its entirety. Just kind of match the body.
Thought about that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can do anything with medicine, but obviously you want the best match, and also too, it's like your family. They say family is obviously like your best option, but sometimes that's not an option. And like I said with Chris, I mean, I had no idea, and obviously like what a blessing it's been, because I've known him for like 5 or 6 years, and to now have an organ, it's priceless.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we completely wrap up here, help somebody that maybe in a similar situation as you, that doesn't have the positive attitude that you do. Help them get out of that slump. That's what we're doing this for, right? I mean, you asked me a question when I was letting you into the house here about my business that had burned down, and I had a heck of a year, and but I hope that in most cases people said that he had a heck of a good attitude as well, and but there are moments and things that are tough and impossible. Help someone get through those moments.
I mean, we're all human. We're not better than feeling like crap sometimes. No matter what,
it's okay to feel like crap.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure,
I feel like anybody does it, obviously, and to be able to just look at yourself and say there is an end in sight. Obviously my situation's much different than anybody, because it's case by case situation, and obviously what I have is IgA, and I don't have things like diabetes. I don't have any other situation. It's just IgA, which is an autoimmune disease that is attacking my own body.
Sure.
And so I don't have all the rest of that stuff. Everything about me is theoretically fine, except for my kidneys are just not where they should be. And so but like I said, I went through some hard times. I just have down moments, and you just got to be able to, like with anything else, you get knocked down, you got to pick yourself up. Yeah. And you got to.
Do you reach for someone to have them help you pick them up? I think that's where so many people get stuck. Is they don't reach out.
Like I said too, I mean, with me, obviously with my line of work and just my experience, I've known so many people, and going through this process, I can't even tell you how many times I've ran into people just asking how I was, how's things going. It's just that, even just little things like that, change your day. Just to know people care. Because like I said, I could have been having a crappy day, and for somebody just, somebody that I don't even really know that well, but that's like a parent or coach or whoever. Just you look all right. You look good. Glad you're here. I'm glad you're feeling okay, and it's just, it makes a world of difference. But like I said, I mean, when you're having a tough time, you got to push through. There's life on the other side. Obviously, not every case is easy, and sometimes it lasts 6 months towards 15 years. You have no idea. Right. No matter what it is, whether it's living with a kidney situation or liver or any kind of organ donation or life in general. I mean, you just got to look at yourself and realize this is where I'm at. and try to make the best out of it.
Yeah. Kind of be honest with yourself is what you're saying, right? Like there was times I had to be honest with myself. Like, man, this sucks.
Yep.
But I have 3 other kids. I have this, and I've said this many times publicly. I never, thankfully, thought about suicide or anything like that. But I often thought, I really want this pain to end, right? And so we just have to look for those ways to not increase the pain through poor choices and things like that, but to work through those things every single day and know that there is tomorrow. And someone said that this is happening right now, but it's just right now, right? There's always something different to look forward to.
It's usually temporary.
Kidney cakes to look forward to someday, maybe, right?
And the biggest thing that I've learned too is that it's just important to be yourself, be happy, and to take life just day at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, before all of this situation, even before 5 years ago, I didn't care what I did. I didn't care. I'm in my early 20s. Like, I didn't have a care in the world.
Right.
I didn't think about blood. I didn't think about kidneys. I didn't think about much of anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of living life. And then, obviously going through all this situation, and then obviously being grateful enough to receive an organ, you just realize how important life is.
Yeah.
Life is, it's hard to even describe and put into words, because
life isn't a straight line.
No.
There's valleys and there's peaks.
And you only get one, Yes. I mean, obviously, life takes some here and there at different times in life, but
it also gives here and there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you got to live life, each day to the fullest, and to, just be happy. There's things I used to worry about and stress about. I don't care now. There's no reason to.
That's so true.
So true. There's so much bigger issues and thoughts, or experiences that you want in life.
Yeah.
Why worry about the little stuff?
Right. Chad, thanks a lot. Thanks for the positive attitude. Thanks for shining a light on your situation to help other people. Thanks for just making sure that you triumph every day. And thanks for the personal conversations that we've had.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to many more of them. So I'll give you the last word.
Keep the positive mentality. It's all about living life and loving life.
Great. Thanks for being here.